Welcome MLB to Show 21 players. I have unlocked all my Ballplayer pitcher related archetypes, and I will show the progression of each along with some attributes after applying diamond perks and equipment. You start off with the bronze archetypes, and after complete each of these programs you are awarded 2 silver archetypes. Each silver archetype program awards a gold, and the gold program awards a diamond archetype. The attributes increase between bronze and silver archetypes, silver and gold, as well as gold to diamond. Each different archetype path will focus on different attribute increases. Cheese focuses on velocity, filthy on break, painter on control. The silver programs build upon the bronze. The bronze archetype's focus and adds a secondary focus, which would be one of the main focus of the other bronzes. So filthy cheese archetype has a main focus of velocity and a secondary focus on break, while the painted cheese has a main focus of velocity and a secondary focus on control. The gold archetypes build upon their silver archetype predecessor with the same focuses, and the diamond just continues to further those same attributes. The baseline attributes are the core attributes in which the archetypes build upon. You can get each of the baseline attributes up to a max of 50 by playing Road to the Show. The baseline attributes shown are my ball player's baseline at the time of this video. I have maxed out the per-9's velocity and nearly maxed out break. I have room for improvement in the other areas. By expanding the attributes in the ball player menu, you can see each archetype boost has additional attributes other than the 5 that was shown earlier. This table shows all attribute boosts for each pitcher archetype and can see the progression of each path. This table shows all the diamond pitcher related perks and their attribute upgrades. There are bronze, silver, and gold perks as well. All attributes can be earned through the progression of the archetype programs or can be purchased in the community market. Any color perks can be added to any color archetype, so diamond perks could be added to bronze archetypes to get an early big boost, or you could add bronze perks to a diamond archetype if you want to do that for some reason. I listed only the diamond perks because this is how to max out your archetype. As far as equipment goes, only eyewear compressions, the virtual fielding glove, and cleats have attribute boosts in the pitcher related archetypes or pitcher related attributes. These are the equipment I currently use for all my pitcher archetypes. I am going to cover all the diamond pitcher archetypes and how I max out each one. Bronze and silver archetypes allow for up to 2 perks, gold up to 3 perks, and diamond archetypes allow up to 4 perks. First diamond archetype up is the big train coming from the cheese and filthy cheese path. Main focus will be on velocity with a secondary focus on pitch break. This diamond archetype, with my baseline attributes and no boosts from perks, the player rating is up to an 86 and is the one and only closing pitcher archetype. Velocity is already maxed out at 99 and hits per 9 is at 99 as well. I personally believe it is best to max out or nearly max out both velocity and break. I then like to boost stamina and the per 9s. So with this archetype I want to boost the break, stamina, and K per 9 attributes. I created a spreadsheet so I could quickly figure out how to max out these archetypes. The red numbers are the actual attributes after perks and equipment is added. I have the spreadsheet auto sum these so it updates as I enter the attribute upgrades. I leave my baseline and equipment numbers as they will remain constant throughout each of these archetypes. I'm only covering diamond archetypes, so they will all have 4 perks available. I start off by adding the archetype boost and then see where these numbers stand, and then look at the table of perks and decide on which perks to use. As I mentioned earlier, I want to boost the break, stamina, and K per 9 attributes. I determined the best perks to be used for this archetype is Break 2, Break 1, Break 5, and Control 2. In the end, the attributes are impressive pretty much all the way across. This is what the attribute screen in the Ballplayer menu looks like after adding the perks and equipment. Notice in the Ballplayer menu area, the equipment boosts are not seen in the numbers. The numbers in the parentheses are the boosts from the archetype and the perks. Notice with these boosts, the overall rating is at 91. This archetype does not show up in Diamond Dynasty when trying to add your Ballplayer to the bullpen. There's a workaround that I'll show near the end of this video. But when you use that workaround and you actually get it in to your lineup, or it'll be in the lineup as a different archetype, but then these are the stats you'll see, which is the stats of the big train. Notice that pitch speeds in the upper right for this archetype, perks, and equipment. For caps, you can only see pitch speeds and cannot hit the square button to see break and or control. These are the quirks that come along with this archetype, perks, and equipment in my loadout. The pitch repertoire shown is what I found to work best for my pitching style and cap pitcher animation. There's a mix of speeds and a mix of braking directions, and when using them in a quote-unquote tunnel can be very deceiving. Second archetype is the kitchen sink, which is a starting pitcher. This archetype also comes from the bronze cheese archetype, so the main focus is on velocity. The silver archetype is painted cheese, so the secondary focus is on control rather than break, as seen with the big train. This diamond archetype, with my baseline attributes and no perks added, the player rating is a 91 overall. Velocity is again maxed out at 99, and his per nine is at 99 as well. So with this archetype, I want to boost the break, stamina, and K per 9 attributes. This archetype, I found that the same 4 perks work best here as well. Numbers look impressive, but the K per 9 is a bit lower. That hit per 9 is quite sexy with 116. Would make the opponent's PCI look quite small. With the perks added to this archetype, in addition to my Ballplayer's baseline attributes, the overall comes out to a 98 overall. In Diamond Dynasty, we can see the pitch speeds remaining the same as the big train. And under the quirks tab, the K per 9s have dropped a few points, but somehow the untouchable quirk pops up here, but not with the big train. The third archetype is Pedro, which is the first relief pitcher. This archetype comes from the bronze filthy archetype with the main focus on break, and the silver painted filth archetype that has a secondary focus on control. The K per 9s get a big boost compared to the other two that got a big boost to their hits per 9. This diamond archetype with the baseline attributes and no perks added gets a player rating of an 89 overall. Break is nearly maxed, so this archetype only perks for velocity, stamina, and hits per 9. I found the best perks to round out this archetype is the break 1 to max out that break attribute, and then velocity 2 and velocity 5 along with control 1. This archetype also ended up being quite nice and is probably my favorite. These perks added to the archetype and my baseline attributes brings the Ballplayer up to a 96 overall. In Diamond Dynasty, you'll see the pitch speeds and the quirks. The sinker baller quirk now shows up here. And the next archetype, coming from the filthy and cheesy filth path, the main focus remains pitch break while the secondary focus moves to pitch velocity. This is another relief pitcher archetype. This archetype, added to my current baseline attributes, presents an 87 overall ball player. Again, the break will nearly be maxed out, or a slight boost in velocity of 4 points over Pedro, so the focus will remain velocity, stamina, and hits per 9. The extra boost, even though it was small, did change the perks for the slowdown. The perks are break 1, again to max out that break. Control 2 is added, and velocity 2 and control 1 is used again. The red numbers again look quite nice. The perks added to this archetype and baseline attributes boost the ball player's overall rating to a 94. And in Diamond Dynasty, we can see the same pitch speeds as Pedro archetype, and the same quirks as Pedro as well. Moving on to the Painter Bronze archetypes, which has the main focus of control, and then the Silver Filthy Painter archetype has a secondary focus of a pitch break. This is the path and gold of the gold and diamond archetype of the Professor. The archetype in my current baseline attributes gives the ball player an overall rating of a 94 as a starting pitcher. Both velocity and break is lacking here, so that will be our focus with the perks. We also want to add some stamina as well, so we'll go with break 2 and break 5. Velocity 1 and velocity 3 gives the boost to the pitch speed. I believe these numbers are a little underwhelming compared to the other archetypes. But these perks with this archetype upgrades to the baseline attributes does give the ball player a 99 overall rating by the game. And in Diamond Dynasty, you can see the pitch speeds and the quirks. A lot more quirks are added here with the addition of Unbreakable and Illusionist quirks. And the last archetype is another starting pitcher coming from the Bronze Painter archetype with their main focus on control. The Silver archetype of Cheesy Painter as the secondary focus of pitch velocity over pitch break. This archetype, added to my current baseline ball player attributes, brings the overall rating to a 93. Again, with velocity and break lacking, we will want to boost the velocity and break. I use the same perks as with the Professor, with break 2 and 5 alongside velocity 1 and 3. This archetype did bring the velocity up to 90 and drop the break into the 80s, which was the reverse of the Professor. We can see that this archetype is also rated at a 99 with those attributes and perks as well. And in Diamond Dynasty, we can see the pitch speeds and a very slight 1 point increase in the velocity of the sinker over the Professor's sinker. With the quirks, we see the Untouchable quirk is not here like it was in the Professor. And now this is where I'm going to show how to put your Big Train archetype into Diamond Dynasty. Alright, I got a starting pitcher, relief pitcher, and a closing pitcher. Big Train. Big Train doesn't work. So first you're going to go over to a relief pitcher. It could be Pedro or it could be a bronze. Just needs to be a relief pitcher. Go and activate it. Then you go to Diamond Dynasty. And you go to manage squad. Go down to relief pitcher spot. Go to the filter, hit your ball player, put your ball player into the lineup. Then you go out, and then here you can go back to the loadout, go back, move over to the Big Train, activate it, and you go back to the game. You go to rank seasons, whatever, and at that point you start up the game. And you go down. If you look at those are the stats, the attributes for the big train.